So there's one thing that has been talked about the last week since Super Bowl 57. And this is, when can we consider Patrick Mahomes the greatest of all time, or at least approaching it? So I want to talk about that today. I think that we can all agree that Tom Brady is considered the GOAT in the NFL. I guess that you kind of get that when you have 7 Super Bowls, which is absolutely insane. 3 more than the next person with Joe Montana with 4. But when we start looking at Patrick Mahomes, could he be the greatest quarterback to ever play? Well, let's just start with the beginning of his career. Patrick Mahomes, I think, has inarguably the best start to an NFL career we've ever seen. In his first 5 years as a starter, he has been to 5 consecutive AFC championship games. The Cowboys haven't been to an NFC championship game since 1996, and Patrick Mahomes has been to 5 in 5 consecutive years. Frustrates me. He's a 2-time league MVP. He's a 2-time Super Bowl champ and a 2-time Super Bowl MVP. And Mahomes is already in elite company. He joins Johnny Unitas, Joe Montana, Steve Young, Peyton Manning, and Tom Brady as the only players to have at least 2 Super Bowl MVPs and 2 Super Bowl wins and 2 league MVPs. And people will look and say, well, look, I mean, Tom Brady had a great start to his career, and he did. There's no denying that. By the time that he was 27 years old, which is the exact same age that Patrick Mahomes is right now, Tom Brady had 3 championships. And so, yeah, on paper, Brady already has more rings at this age than what Mahomes has. But I want you to think about what Tom Brady had to do in those first 3 Super Bowl wins. In the playoffs, in his first 3 Super Bowl wins, Brady threw for under 2,000 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions total in the playoffs of those 3 Super Bowl winning seasons. Put that into context. In the playoffs so far, Patrick Mahomes has thrown for 4,000 yards, 35 touchdowns to just 7 interceptions. So if you look at this, the Patriots' early dynasty was really predicated on a run game in their defense and great coaching by Bill Belichick. Now, you could make the argument, and I would make the argument, that the later Patriots dynasty was more Tom Brady and Josh McDaniels in the offense, coming back from 28-3, beating Seattle, beating the Rams, even though that was a defensive slugfest. You could make the argument, and I would make the argument, that Tom Brady had a lot more to do with those Super Bowls than he did with his first 3. The 2 Super Bowls that Patrick Mahomes has won, it's been on the back of Patrick Mahomes. He has led them to comebacks. In both games, they were trailing in the fourth quarter.
Kansas City has won their first Super Bowl in 50 years. And the Chiefs' kingdom has firmly planted its flag on top of football's highest summit.
Patrick Mahomes is already doing a lot more and having the burden of carrying a team in his first 2 Super Bowl wins than Tom Brady did. And we know this is the ultimate team sport. So 7 Super Bowl wins does seem kind of out of reach for Patrick Mahomes. And I know that the trajectory that he is going on, you could maybe theoretically see it. However, I'm just going to go by the law of averages and just say that Tom Brady is an outlier. And I don't think that we're going to see another quarterback with that much team success the way that Tom Brady had with the New England Patriots. And let's remember that the Patriots, when they were dominating the AFC, there really wasn't a ton of other great teams. I mean, you had Peyton Manning and with the Colts and with the Broncos later on, you had Ben Roethlisberger, but never really seemed like that big of a rivalry. Just the AFC was down. The AFC now has almost every single good quarterback that is in the NFL. I mean, Jalen Hurts is the number one quarterback in the NFC, and after that, it's throw out anybody. I don't even know. Kirk Cousins, Dak Prescott. The AFC is loaded right now. And so I think that it is more likely that Patrick Mahomes doesn't reach 7 Super Bowls. But that doesn't mean that he can't be the greatest of all time. And the reason is we figured this out in 1996 or 1998 when Michael Jordan won his 6th championship and everyone just immediately crowned him the greatest of all time. He didn't have the most championship rings. That's still Bill Russell. Bill Russell has 4 more championship rings, 5 more championship rings than Michael Jordan. So championship rings, it doesn't mean whoever has the most is automatically the greatest of all time. So I could make the argument that Patrick Mahomes doesn't need to be number one in terms of winning championships, and he doesn't need 7 Super Bowl rings or 8 Super Bowl rings. He's already, at this point, breaking all sorts of records. And even though Tom Brady holds a lot of records, Tom Brady holds all-time passing yards, all-time passing touchdowns. He has a league-high 15 Pro Bowls, leads the NFL history in wins, Super Bowl wins, completions, attempts, and some of that is just the longevity of a 20-year career. You kind of get some of those numbers. And who knows, if Patrick Mahomes plays for another 10 to 12 years, what are we looking at? If he plays for 16 years in the NFL, are his numbers looking close to Brady's? I would say that he probably is. And you can probably make the argument that Patrick Mahomes is already a top 5 quarterback in NFL history. And if he retired today, he would be a first ballot Hall of Famer. But my argument and kind of what the point of this video that I wanted to make is that Mahomes doesn't have to get 7 Super Bowl wins to be considered the greatest of all time. He just needs to continue this trajectory. And if he say he wins 2 more, and he has 4 championship rings, and he's right there with Brady at a younger age, and 34. He has 2 more Super Bowls, and he's starting to get to the point where he's breaking and passing Tom Brady's records. I think you could make the argument that he is chasing the GOAT already. And if you're Tom Brady, from everything I've heard, Brady really likes Mahomes and talks to Mahomes. And maybe you wouldn't be so upset, but holding on to the GOAT title, could be up pretty soon.